My marriage hit a wall a few months back. I've been in Atlanta visiting my brother. I chose to go to Atlanta because, of course, Martell and I have children together. So it's important. While I do need time and space away, it is still also important for me to be, in an area or a distance that's not too far so that there's not an issue when it comes to exchanging the kids and custody and things of that nature.
There are moments in life when the truth refuses to stay buried, when the image someone carefully constructed over the years suddenly fractures and everything hidden behind it spills into the light. For Martell Holt, that moment didn't unfold on a reality TV stage during a fiery confrontation or in a viral social media exchange. It happened in a courtroom, quiet, tense, and undeniable, where every word carried consequence and every decision held the power to change lives. The ruling wasn't just another headline scrolling across timelines. It was final, it was official, and it sent shockwaves through everyone who had followed his journey. When the court sided with Melody Shari and confirmed Martell's sentencing, it wasn't merely a legal decision, it marked the unraveling of a carefully maintained persona. The confident husband, the ambitious businessman, the reality star who once carried himself with pride. That image could no longer shield him from accountability. But here's where the story takes an unexpected turn.
Get out!
But there's still certain things we need to talk about.
No, go and keep going.
You talking like that.
Yeah, no.
I don't want my kids to be around that.
Get out.
Martell Holt does something. Melody, she runs social media and put my out there, but I haven't done that.
This moment didn't happen overnight. It wasn't random, and it certainly wasn't unexpected. It was the result of years of tension quietly simmering beneath the surface. Betrayal, public embarrassment, broken trust, and emotional wounds that never truly healed. What unfolded in that courtroom was simply the climax of a story that had been unraveling for a long time behind closed doors. To understand why the ruling carried so much weight, we have to rewind to the beginning, back to a time when everything still appeared flawless from the outside. Before the legal battles, before the accusations, before the fallout became public, there was a time when Martell Holt and Melody Shari were viewed as the definition of a power couple. Their journey seemed aspirational. Two driven individuals building a brand, raising a family, pursuing success, and presenting a united front that looked unshakable. To many, they weren't just a couple, they were the blueprint for ambition, partnership, and modern Black excellence. But as we now know, what looks perfect on the surface doesn't always reflect what's happening underneath.
Considering all the things that have gone on both sides of the fence, Melody and myself, I really don't see Melody and I ever getting back together. And I just see who Melody really is, because I feel that her heart, for real, her heart isn't good.
When they first appeared on Love and Marriage Huntsville, audiences were immediately captivated. They weren't just entertaining, they felt authentic. They appeared solid, aligned, unbreakable. Martell carried himself with undeniable confidence, speaking like a man fully in control of his destiny, his business, his image, his household. There was certainty in his tone, pride in his presence. Meanwhile, Melody projected poise and intelligence. She came across as strategic, composed, and fiercely dedicated to both her children and the empire they were building. Together, they looked like a force, a modern power couple turning vision into reality. Their marriage seemed like a true partnership, two ambitious minds working side by side, chasing success and presenting unity to the world. But while the cameras captured polished smiles and confident interviews, the truth behind the scenes was far more layered and far more fragile than anyone realized.
Right. Well, Love and Marriage Huntsville TV star Martell Holt was recently arrested for domestic violence. The 42-year-old was booked into the Madison County Jail last night. Holt was charged with third-degree domestic violence and harassing communications.
Marriage is rarely as effortless as it looks on television. What audiences saw was only a carefully edited glimpse of a much more complicated reality. Behind closed doors, the pressure was intensifying. Responsibilities were increasing, expectations were rising, and emotional fractures were forming in ways that no production team could smooth over forever. Melody was juggling motherhood, business ventures, and constant public scrutiny all at once. While she appeared poised and composed on screen, privately she was carrying an emotional burden that few truly recognized. Then came the truth that changed everything. The affair was not just speculation or temporary gossip. It was a profound betrayal that deeply fractured the foundation of their marriage. When Melody opened up about the long-term infidelity, the image of the perfect couple unraveled almost instantly. Supporters who once admired Martell began reassessing everything they thought they knew. Was the devoted husband image genuine, or simply a carefully crafted persona for public consumption? What made it even more heartbreaking was that the unraveling didn't happen quietly. The arguments, raw emotions, and escalating tension played out in front of millions, turning their private pain into public spectacle.
Are y'all still going through this, man? What do you think the problem is? Martell.
She don't want nobody seeing that she's actually working with me in terms of effective co-parenting. She don't want nobody to see that. She don't want nobody to see that she's been nice or cool with me. It gotta be. What else could it be? One thing about I'm trying to stay peaceful. No, because I don't mess up your peace. I don't say anything wrong. I don't do anything wrong. It's all about the kids. She can call my phone and talk to the kids whenever, and I don't have a number to call my kids when they're with her. I just want her to do right.
The woman who once stood proudly at his side as a partner eventually found herself in a very different position, fighting not for a relationship, but for her peace, her dignity, and her children's stability. While some people believed Martell simply made human mistakes, others began noticing a troubling pattern that felt deeper than one lapse in judgment. What no one anticipated was how far the conflict would escalate. Emotional arguments slowly transformed into legal disputes. Court filings, formal allegations, and official complaints began surfacing, revealing a situation far more serious than televised drama. This was no longer about a fractured marriage. It became a matter of accountability, repeated behavior, and the long-term effects on a family caught in the crossfire. As the months passed, Melody's priorities shifted. She stopped trying to repair what was broken and instead focused on safeguarding her children, her stability, and her future. That quiet change in direction spoke louder than any press statement. While Martell continued attempting to protect his public image, Melody appeared more composed, strategic, and forward-focused, even in the midst of emotional pain. Then came the courtroom battles that ultimately led to a stunning ruling. Unlike television, courtrooms are not swayed by charm or public perception. Judges examine documentation, timelines, and verified patterns. And as the legal process unfolded, it became clear this was not a private disagreement. It was a serious case with lasting implications. Many assumed the situation would fade like most celebrity controversies. Instead, it intensified. Allegations of harassment, ongoing disputes, and emotional instability became part of the official narrative. When children's well-being entered the center of the discussion, the gravity of the case deepened. Evidence, testimony, and documented incidents created a timeline the court could not dismiss. What was presented was not simply a failed marriage, it was a record of repeated conflict that raised serious concerns about responsibility and stability. When the sentencing day arrived, there was no dramatic soundtrack, only silence and consequence. The judge's ruling in favor of Melody Shari, confirming sentencing for Martell Holt, marked a pivotal turning point. This was not symbolic, it was life-altering. Legal restrictions, probation terms, and structured conditions were now formally recorded. Reputation, once carefully curated, now carried the weight of documented findings. But the ruling reshaped more than Martell's circumstances. It altered the emotional landscape for everyone involved. For Melody, it wasn't about revenge, it was about validation. Years of emotional strain and public humiliation had finally been acknowledged within a legal framework. She didn't celebrate, she exhaled. Relief replaced chaos. Public reaction ignited online. Supporters reconsidered their positions, critics felt vindicated, and debates intensified. Yet beneath all opinions, one reality stood firm. Legal consequences are not entertainment, they are transformative. The most painful impact, however, rested within the family dynamic. Children never choose courtrooms, yet they often bear the heaviest emotional consequences. With the ruling in place, visitation, boundaries, and routines were dictated by legal structure rather than mutual agreement. That shift alone changed everything. Motherhood remained Melody's compass. Stability became non-negotiable. Protecting her children's emotional well-being outweighed public narratives. Her strength was no longer loud, it was steady and intentional. For Martell, the sentencing signaled something unavoidable: accountability. Public explanations could not override official records. Personal justifications could not dismiss documented concerns. Growth was no longer optional, it was required. Even with legal victory, Melody's journey did not suddenly become easy. Court decisions do not erase betrayal or instantly heal scars. They simply mark the beginning of a new chapter, one centered on rebuilding, responsibility, and emotional restoration. Observers noticed a change in her presence: calmer, more focused, less reactive to outside noise. Instead of fueling drama, she invested in her businesses, her creative ventures, and her children. Meanwhile, Martell faced a path defined by legal monitoring and structured expectations. Sentencing does not end a story, it redefines it. What was once seen as a glamorous partnership evolved into a cautionary tale about pride, betrayal, and the cost of unresolved conflict. The public began to understand that reality television can blur the lines between spectacle and real-life consequences. What appeared to be dramatic exchanges on screen were, in truth, deeply personal conflicts with tangible legal impact. In the end, the court's ruling symbolized more than a win for Melody. It represented closure after prolonged emotional warfare. It represented protection for her children and perseverance in the face of scrutiny. For Martell, it became a mirror reflecting years of choices and missed opportunities for change. A reminder that image cannot replace integrity, and charm cannot silence documented truth. As the courtroom emptied and life moved forward, one truth remained undeniable. This was never just about a marriage dissolving. It was about a woman reclaiming her peace, a family striving for stability, and a man confronting the consequences of his actions. And perhaps the most powerful lesson is this: truth may be delayed, but it does not disappear. It waits, it builds, and when it finally rises, it changes everything.